What an honor. Hi, everybody. Hope you're enjoying dinner. Just want to welcome His Eminence and all the distinguished guests and the friars, counselors, and everybody who helped me to get here today, especially my parents and God. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I'm also a brother, Christopher. I'm going to share my story, just a little bit about what I was like, what happened, what I'm like now. So in case anybody's wondering, this isn't a 12-step meeting. If anybody wandered in here by mistake, just so you know, it may sound like I'm qualifying like as if I was at one, but it's just a dinner. So I will tell you that I got sober on actually November is my date, but November 16th, 2010. November 15th was a very bad day in my life. I was on death's doorstep. I really was. I was being driven from court, where I had to go because I had a felony possession charge, to another treatment facility where I would wait until a bed at St. Christopher's was available. St. Christopher's was like the big leagues. It was the last house on the block for an addict and an alcoholic like myself. I did not want to go to this place because I knew that they were going to ask me to do stuff that was really hard, and my whole life was about doing stuff the easy way, and that's really my story. My story is, I just wanted to have fun. I wanted a party. I wanted the easier, softer way. I just wanted to feel good, and I did that as often as I could and as much as I could, and for a while it worked. It really did. I had a lot of friends. Come from a great family. Things were working out pretty well, and then it just stopped working. But I couldn't stop. I had progressed from just drinking a little bit on the weekends to drinking a lot, to trying different drugs, to doing different drugs all the time, and then by the end of my using, I was living out of my car with my also homeless girlfriend. We were both IV cocaine and heroin addicts, and I was in trouble with the law too, and I didn't even want to stop. I didn't think I had a problem. I wanted to be left alone. I wanted to figure it out. I had this huge ego that just thought that I could take care of it, and I'm really grateful that I couldn't. I was given one last opportunity, as you might have heard in the video, to try and do things a little bit differently. And I went kicking and screaming, but I went. And I got to St. Christopher's in early December, and my dad had come to give me a few extra articles of clothing because I knew I'd be there for like an extended stay, 60 to 90 days of living abandoning the lifestyle that I'd grown so accustomed to. It seemed unfathomable to me. It seemed like an eternity. It seemed like a life sentence. But that's exactly what I needed. I needed to be away from my old life as long as possible in a safe place. So when my dad showed up that day and I was in the office, the admissions office, I felt like a camper on visiting day. I was like holding on his leg, like I didn't want him to leave, without me. And thank God he left. He left, and then. The men at St. Christopher's, I wasn't coddled by the staff and by the other men there. I was shown a bit of tough love, but that's exactly what I needed. I needed to be humbled. I needed to be beaten into a state of reasonableness, which I was at that particular point. So I wrote a few things down. I just want to make sure I cover all the bases here. And so I was given a locker that I lived out of. My entire life had been reduced to the trunk of my car. I wasn't allowed in my parents' house because I would The only times I would come home were to do things like steal out of my mom's wallet her credit cards, and the only times we would visit my ex-girlfriend's house was to break in to steal jewelry to pawn. So they didn't really like us hanging around too often. That's why I was living in a car, and so I just basically moved my trunk into a locker. But like I thought like I at least could have been given a walk-in closet, but they didn't have those there. And I was given a job. I was given a job to do. And the last thing I wanted to do at that particular point was work without getting a paycheck. And of course, I wound up in the maintenance department. We were in charge of tasks like removing the urinals from the bathroom walls and cleaning behind them with hoses, shoveling all the ice and snow around the mountainside during the blizzards of 2010 and 2011. It was real clean fun. I felt like Mike Rowe on an episode of Dirty Jobs. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It actually gave me self-worth and esteem back. It gave me a taste of discipline, and a sense of altruism. Here was a place that was willing to do so much for me, and this was my small way of being able to give back a little bit. I felt accomplished. I felt like I had something to offer. I felt useful. That was a feeling that had long since been gone. I felt useless when I showed up. I wouldn't have had the language for this, and this kind of all happened on a subconscious level. I acknowledge it mostly in hindsight. There were plenty of days where I was not happy to be there, but I did it. And that's really been the story of my recovery, is that I show up for life today, no matter what, how I think or feel about it, I just do it. And that's the work ethic that I was taught at St. Christopher's, just to do it. And the payoff, the reward might come a little bit later. And for someone like me who really thrives off immediate gratification, that is a monumental shift. But it happened. I mean, it's real. It really happened for me at St. Christopher's. I felt fully supported by the other brothers and the caring staff. My counselor Richard had recently become a group counselor, and I thought, of course, just my luck, I got stuck with the new guy. But that was another blessing. This man showed such unending compassion, and I believe it was through his careful guidance and that of the other counselors that, I really had a program in place while I was at St. Christopher's, and then an aftercare plan that would then save my life. I was also lucky to get sober at a time of year when I got to experience the shift of the seasons. I got to see the harsh perils of winter and then the fruitful blossoming of spring. Janet and the kitchen staff would take some of the brothers on picturesque hikes around the property. And that wasn't the only activity I looked forward to every week. There was yoga that was brought in and weekly. And then coffee shop, which is what this talent show is termed, permitted us to write and play our own music and showcase some of the talents that we perhaps didn't even know we had. I took my singing career from the shower to the choir as the lone Jewish choir boy at that particular time. And then to the stage at St. Christopher's, and it felt really, really good. Unfortunately, for me, probably also fortunately for you guys, I left that career on the mountain. But I got other gifts instead. I've had the opportunity to stay connected with some of the other men that I was there with. I'm grateful for that. My counselor and I communicate often. I get to come each year for the alumni picnic, which is incredible to see, just to watch a front row seat to the other miracles that are occurring. And thanks to the life-changing family program, I began to rebuild the relationships with the parents that had to feed me sandwiches through a screen door because they didn't trust their own son, and the sister that I had just lost the relationship with, all at Graymore. My life today is really good. If you told me 10 years ago that this is how things would look for me at 31, I wouldn't have believed you, mostly because I wouldn't have thought I wanted it. I didn't know that peace, friendships, family relations, and most of all, this sense of usefulness would have been so cherished. And to think, I could have missed it all. I need to say this, I don't do this thing called life perfectly, but I have learned how to not have to use when I make mistakes or when life throws curveballs. And they are both many and often. But my life is also very fun. Today, it looks like I do cool stuff like improv, and I travel often. I go out and listen to and dance to music regularly. I go on dates with women that actually like me, sober, sometimes. I was able to continue the career that like I almost lost forever, and I've explored new career paths too. Last year I became a certified health coach. I'm returning to college this year to finally finish my undergrad. I basically do all the things that I wasn't supposed to be able to do. I face my fears today, and well, for the most part. I take opposite actions. I do the things that give my life meaning, and the results are pretty good. And it all started right here with the Friars on Bear Mountain. I am forever indebted to you all, and I wish for everyone a happy, healthy, safe, and simple year. Thank you.